You are listening to the College Football Report with Eric and Ryan Robinson every Thursday on the Central Indiana Sports Report. Welcome back to the Central Indiana Sports Report, college football fans, for the Central Indiana Sports Report with Eric and Ryan Robinson, and today joined by guest Will Retherford of the Strictly Biased podcast and Carson Redwine to talk about the semifinals. I'll just get it out of the way. Eric and Ryan and Will all have IU and Miami. I have Miami and Oregon. I picked Oregon from the start of the playoffs. I'm sticking with them despite what I probably think is going to happen, and that's IU probably winning. But I think it's going to be a really good game, and I picked Oregon from the start, so I'm kind of sticking with it. We don't need to talk about that anymore. Eric, kick us off with whatever you want to talk about.
Let's start with what Carson Beck is doing and that Miami defense. I think going into the playoff, the narrative was, should Miami be in or out? I think they've obviously validated being in the playoff, beating what they did to Texas A&M and Ohio State, two teams most people had to win it all a month ago. I think the Miami win over Ohio State is a little bit more impressive than even the IU win over Ohio State. I thought it was a little more dominant. They were in control basically the entire game. And I don't know if I haven't heard anyone talking about this yet, but Carson Beck threw for 103 yards at A&M. They get the win. He threw for 138 against Ohio State. So their offense is not doing much at all. The defense is just dominant. I always preach on defense being winning championships. That's why I'm picking Miami over Ole Miss. And I never thought I would say it, but they're a legitimate threat to win this whole thing. What do you guys more on the defense? I think anytime you can get points from your defense, it's a big advantage. It's like a special teams touchdown. And Miami was able to do that against Ohio State early in the or late in the first quarter, early second quarter when they had that pick six. That just kind of changed the dynamic of the whole game plan for Ohio State. Miami kind of just came out and pounced on them early. I don't know the matchup with Ole Miss, if they're going to be able to do anything similar with such a versatile quarterback from Ole Miss. I think that could change things up and make things a little bit of a challenge for that Miami defense. But no doubt in the first two games, I mean, they've showed up, and Carson Beck hasn't had to do a whole lot to win games. He just had to make sure he didn't lose games. And that's kind of been his menu for success throughout the season. So I think a more mobile quarterback in Chambliss is going to prove to be more of an obstacle and a challenge, but I still like Miami in this game.
I'm with both Eric and Ryan. I think that Miami's front four is so dominant. They probably have the best front four in college football. They probably have the two best defensive players left in this of the final four teams. I think Ruben Bain is an absolute game changer. If Miami gets up on Ole Miss early, Ole Miss doesn't stand any chance, because if you just allow Mark Fletcher to run the ball, then control the line of scrimmage defensively, Chambliss is going to be in a hellhole. It's not a spot you want to be in. It's not a team you want to get behind. That's what Ohio State and Texas A&M struggled with. They couldn't get the lead, and that defense is good enough to shut anybody down. I see this matchup being probably tight because Miami's going to struggle to score, but it's going to be a dominant Miami performance regardless of however many points they put up on offense.
Yeah, and another thing to mention, the Georgia defense hasn't been able to stop anybody all year. A lot of the SEC schools have struggled on the defensive side of things. And you look at the matchup against like Big Ten teams and the SEC, the one loss record is way lopsided now in favor of the Big Ten. And if you took the ACC patch off of the Miami jersey, they look like a Big Ten team. They do. They don't look like an SEC team. They look more like a Big Ten team. And I think, like we're all saying, I think that's the difference in the game. Ole Miss is gonna try to throw. I think it's too much defense from Miami, but they're built like a Big Ten team. I like that comparison, Eric, because if you look at what Mendoza did against Alabama in the Rose Bowl, 38-3, I guarantee you look at that stat line and you think, well, hell, Mendoza probably threw for 300 yards and had 5 touchdowns. But you look at it and he threw for, I think, around $180. And it was rough and tough football. And IU just pounding them in the trenches. And they just kind of wore that Alabama team down. And Mendoza, he played fantastic, don't get me wrong, but when you see 38-3, you got your Heisman winner and under center. You look at the stat line. I was kind of surprised at the end of the game to see that he was under 200 yards. So, and Carson Beck's been doing the same type of approach, even at a lower clip passing wise. So, yeah, that's a good comparison as far as them looking like a Big Ten team.
I think the 3 best defenses probably in college football are left in Miami, Indiana, and Oregon. I think that you're going to see this Ole Miss game. If Trinidad Chambliss can kind of
Wait,
play
you
a
said
little,
Ohio State wasn't in the top 3?
I think you might have the 3 best as of right now. I'm
Three
not
of the
saying
top
Ohio
4.
State didn't play awesome. Ohio State also didn't play anybody the entire year. So I think that defense was a little protected from reality in a way. I thought they played well against IU and the Big Ten championship, but I don't think they played any elite offense to really challenge how good they really were. I like the way Miami's playing. I think Cristobal was kind of a goofball at Oregon. I think that he's really kind of turned the tide of Miami. He's from the South Florida area. He's the local. He speaks Spanish to the crowd, to the audience, to their fans. There's a lot to like about this team. We still haven't mentioned Malachi Toney, which I think might be the best playmaker left, the freshman from Miami. It kind of feels like if they can get some momentum and win big here, I think they're going to be a mighty tough test for whoever makes it out of the Oregon IU game. I think that's going to be an old-fashioned slugfest, a heavyweight fight. So I think if you're Ole Miss, you're a little scared to play this Miami defense. I think if you're Miami, you're just hoping to get through healthy and hopefully you get a beaten up and battered team out of the other side of the bracket.
Yeah, and back to Malachi Toney, he should actually still be in high school. He
Nuts.
Yeah, the kid's like, I think he was 17 years old when Notre Dame played the first week of the season. So, wow. And then you mentioned, I can mention one thing to not like about this Miami team, and I'm being trying to be a little funny here, but can we not watch Michael Irvin for the entire game act like a fool on the sideline? Here's what we got to do. We got to grab Michael Irvin, Matthew McConaughey, Taylor Swift, and they need to go to the island of misfit toys. Yeah, I've never seen anything like it. Try to take all the attention away from these ball players and just act like a fool on the sideline the entire game. You can edit this out if you want to, Greg, later, but are you friends with Joe Weaver on Facebook? Did you see what he posted today?
I didn't.
He had a picture of Michael Irvin stretching on the sideline during the game and said, "This guy is on the purest form of cocaine ever manufactured." Yeah, Carson and I was laughing over the post-game stuff he was doing in the end zone. I'm like, that guy's not going to be allowed on the sideline anymore. Did you see that? He was pulling his pants down. Yeah.
To pass his underwear waistband.
It's almost like this guy won 3 Super Bowls. Like, do we have to act like a complete asshole on the sideline? It's not hard. Just be an adult. I get you're excited. It's your alma mater. I would be through the moon if I was in that position. But I don't know. I kind of agree with Eric. I think it kind of takes away from what the game actually is, how the student athletes perform. And it's just theatrics that are distractions. They're not needed. You don't see that from Oregon. You don't see that from IU. I think it's kind of classless.
Yeah, and these kids weren't even born when Michael Irvin was even relevant. Like, they don't even know this guy. Like, who's Papal over here? acting a fool. Why is Peepaw taking his pants off?
Bad thing about this, he looks like he's still kaput.
Yeah.
No,
This gives us a good opportunity to bring in Carson Redwine. He's a good friend of the show. He's a big Alabama fan, but we're just going to get some insight from him on what he thinks of the matchup tomorrow night with
War Eagle. Rough.
We're going to get his insight on what he thinks on Ole Miss and Miami tomorrow, and then he'll probably jump in on some IU conversation Friday night as well. So, Carson, big matchup, semifinal game number 1. What's your thoughts and predictions?
I think Ole Miss has got the game. Miami's got a good defense, but the way Trinidad has been playing and the troops at Ole Miss have been rallying around Pete Golding and everything that's went on with them the past, month and a half, 2 months with Kiffin and all that jazz. I think Ole Miss takes it by, a touchdown. That's my feeling. That's some serious SEC bias right there, Carson.
Yeah, that's right.
I mentioned last week about maybe being an emotional letdown from Ole Miss getting through game 1, and they were wanting to a battle cry to win without Coach Kiffin. But Carson, what do you think with Charlie Weiss Jr. being offensive coordinator? He's assumed to be going with Kiffin to LSU. If he wins a national championship, is that in jeopardy?
Possibly. It's tough to say. I mean, what's he going to get paid at LSU?
Yeah, I don't know what type of coordinator salary would be at LSU.
I'm sure they're throwing him some big money.
It'd probably be $3 million, maybe.
I'm sure they're throwing him some big money. I don't know.
Ole Miss is not going to let him walk out of the building if he wins a national championship.
But look what they're doing for Kiffin, and all the money they're giving him, matching the bonuses and stuff that he's getting for Ole Miss winning those games, and who knows who's the big donor that's at Ole Miss that's throwing all that money at him. You know what I mean? Or at LSU that's throwing all the money.
Yeah, I don't know who the big donor would be. IU definitely it's Mark Cuban.
Yeah, I saw a thing today,
but I'm not sure who. I'm sure with LSU it's a conglomerate of people
because they
throw money at that program.
Look at all the money that they've wasted over the past few years with Brian Kelly and Ed Orgeron and all that. It's just amazing. It's like an endless amount of money. Like they just got like an open vault. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's kind of the state of college football right now with the portal. Now we even have coaches that are being affected by it. You talk about Friday's game with IU. Oregon's both their coordinators have already taken head coaching jobs somewhere else. So, and they're still on the staff with Dan Lanning. So I don't know how that can factor in, but I'll turn it back over to you guys, and then we'll get some IU rhetoric going. He just met you and knew that. Carson said SEC bias. I said, he just met you and knew that already.
He's the only one at the table who said Ole Miss is going to win. And he's the SEC guy.
He just reeks of it. Looking at the IU Oregon game, I think to me this is the championship game. We probably all agree on that as well.
100%.
You look at balance, offense and defense. Both of these teams are ranked in the top 10. I think Oregon's right on the verge offensively. I'm close. They may be 12, 13. But when you factor in all around balance, hands down the top 2 teams left, it's going to be a heck of a fight. I'm worried a little bit. I thought IU 2 weeks ago when they beat Ohio State, I was like, holy cow, they're going to win the whole thing. And then you look at what Oregon's been doing for about a month. Man, I'm not so sure. To watch Oregon win, I'm not going to be shocked. Obviously, I want IU. These are the 2 best teams, I think. Clearly hands down out of the 4.
And the first game, if you watched play to play, those two teams were so even.
So you think the winner of this game Friday night's your national champion? Is that what you're saying? Yes.
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 That's 4 yeses.
Except the
Carson.
Ole Miss guy's going to tell us they're going to win it, right?
Carson.
No,
Okay.
I don't think so.
I sent Ryan a text earlier. Anyone else hearing or seeing any traction on this Signetti? The Raiders going all in on Signetti and taking Mendoza #1?
I saw that.
I don't think that's a great decision, but if that's what that would be a Raiders decision. That's what they would do. So it doesn't surprise me that they would get fooled by the eye candy. I wouldn't do that. I would not hire a 64-year-old first-time NFL head coach. He's a hard ass, and that just doesn't work at the NFL level. I don't think the way that it works at college.
Right.
It's much more colleague relationship than player coach. I'm still a little hesitant to crown Mendoza some incredible prospect. I think he's good. I don't know how great he is for the NFL level, but that's neither here nor there. He'll have his chance to decide if he wants to be the #1 pick, which I think is going to happen, or unlikely come back to IU.
Well, if anyone can mess it up, it would be the Raiders. With that #1 pick. I think you bring up a good point, though, on the personality of Signetti translating to the NFL.
There's no way.
Probably a train wreck.
He's a photo.
Well, I think Oakland, or Las Vegas. Sorry,
Yep.
show my. Las Vegas just fired an old man. Why do they want to have to fire another one?
At least you didn't say Los Angeles.
The Raiders with the first overall pick would probably take Diego Pavia instead of Mendoza. So they'll find a way to screw it up.
Boy, Diego.
Yeah, I don't think Cincinnati anywhere.
I personally think that the better NFL prospect in this game is Dante Moore. I like his game a little bit better. I think that it tracks to the NFL game a little bit more. I think this game comes down to, can Oregon withstand the loss of Jordan Davison, their #2 back, kind of their battering ram? He's been huge for them throughout this playoff stretch. I don't know. Greg, I said IU early. I think I'm leaning Oregon. I really think it's really difficult to beat a team when they're this close together twice. And I think on neutral field, I still like Oregon's ability to win this game.
So a change in the middle of the podcast.
I flip-flopped. I think it's going to be difficult for IU to maintain the level of efficiency they had in the Rose Bowl against Alabama. They're not going to come out and play that well again. It's just not going to happen. And if they don't go and kill Oregon, I think Oregon will stay in this game and end up winning it.
Well, I'm going all in on IU. I just think the coaching staff issues, I think that's a huge distraction for Oregon. The running back being out of the game is a huge detriment to Oregon. IU's got too many weapons up front. Secondary's playing well. Quarterback's playing well. They're running the ball. I just don't see an angle that Oregon can win. I think they can survive. I think it might be a close game. It's not going to be 38-3 like we saw in the Rose Bowl, but I can see a game like a 24-13, 26-14 type of outcome. I'm not flip-flopping. I'm sticking with the Hoosiers, and then it's going to be IU and Miami and the Natty.
So Will has inspired me and Ryan has convinced me. I'm going with IU. I'm making the switch too, Will. I'm switching to the Hoosiers.
Hey, I think that you can. I think it's okay. I'm not saying that I dislike IU in this game, but that I don't think they can win. I just think that the way those two played, and I get it was at Autzen. I'm well aware that IU went on the road in an incredibly difficult atmosphere and won a big game. I just think that when two teams like this play each other multiple times throughout the year, it's very NFL-esque to me, where teams are just going to split a series. And it's unfortunate that IU had to play Oregon before they got to the national championship. I just think it's difficult to beat a team of this caliber with a coach like Dan Lanning 2 times in one season.
Carson, your thoughts on who's going to win?
I think IU. I honestly, when when IU played Ohio State and beat them down in the Big Ten championship game, I'm like, okay, they've shot their wad and they're done. It's over. Whoever they play next is gonna kill them, and that happened to be Alabama, and they killed Alabama. So it's just they proved to me that if they can beat Alabama, they can beat anybody. And yes, I am biased because I am an Alabama fan, SEC homer. Say what you want, but
I agree with you 100% this time.
they, to me, they don't have any real weakness, and Signetti just seems like he has them prepared just every game inside and out, and I they're just so mentally tough, and I got to go with IU. Even though I like Dan Lanning, I wish he was. I like Kalen DeBoer as a coach, but I wish Lanning was in Tuscaloosa. But I got to go with IU.
Carson, do you think Kevin DeBoer, any jeopardy there? Coaching change. Obviously, they haven't done it yet, but say he loses 3 games next year. Is he on the hot seat?
Well, did you watch or see anything about the Pat McAfee show today? Saban was on there. He was talking. They asked his opinion about the state of affairs, basically at Alabama football, and he's like, "Well, I think Kalen's a good coach. They kind of need to turn things up down there." So, and I think it was 2 nights ago, whenever Alabama's last home basketball game was, Miss Terry and Nick were at the game, and he was sitting right next to the Alabama athletic director. And I saw something on Facebook and said they ain't talking basketball. So I think, but in Kalen's defense, I think he's a hell of a coach. But who wants to follow Nick Saban?
Yeah, you're
You know
not.
what I mean?
It's a losing.
Yes. So it's tough as shit. That's why I think if they would have had the chance to hire a Saban guy from the get go that played that style of football, it'd have been a lot better. But that's not their. He doesn't have the SEC brand of football that that he's brought in, and it's just I don't know. He hasn't got a fair shake since he's been down there. But will he ever? I don't know. And I think that honestly, I thought he would go to Michigan. I really did. I definitely think that if they have a season like they did this year, next year he's gone.
No,
That's a hell of a buyout.
no doubt. If they lose 2 games next year, he may be fired in the middle of the season.
Possibly.
That's a no-no down there.
It's a religion in Tuscaloosa. It's crazy. I've never seen anything like it. It's nuts. Because it's like a pro sport in Alabama because it's the only thing they have.
Don't slam this door.
Well, I think most of us have agreed on what we're going to see the next couple nights. I do want to make one comment on why Will is flipping and saying it's hard to beat a team twice. Let's look back a year ago and look what Ohio State did to Oregon in the playoff versus what they did in the regular season. Totally different outcome. They blew Oregon out in the first quarter. It was over. So let's hope that doesn't happen to IU.
By the way, Will was at that game.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
No, but I'm excited for the next 2 nights. Go Hoosiers. I'm interested and looking forward to seeing that Miami defense and what they can do against Chambliss. Going to be interesting. I just think when you look at both those matchups, you think there's going to be points scored more on Friday than you're going to see on Thursday, and I think it's going to be the exact opposite. I think the Ole Miss Miami game probably will be higher scoring than IU and Oregon. I think that IU Oregon game is going to be a very precise, tactical type game. IU limited mistakes, quick passes, ground and pound. Maybe over under. I had mentioned earlier 26-13, so you're talking maybe 39 points. I think that's right in the ballpark of what we'll see Friday night. I think the points are going to be scored tomorrow night, honestly. I think Carson Beck's been limited with what he's done the first 2 games, but he's capable of throwing for 300. And then you look at Ole Miss and their offense and Chambliss at quarterback, they could drop 30 in a minute. Now, of course, this might be a challenge going up against Miami's defense, but I think tomorrow's going to be the more offensive, productive game, in my opinion.
What's the over under that Michael Irvin gets arrested tomorrow night? That's got to be a line somewhere in Vegas. I need to see that.
I don't think they put a line on it because he snorted it.
If the game was in Miami, forget it.
They keep putting a line on it, it disappears.
And if Miami gets to the national championship game in Miami, holy cow.
Yeah,
Can you
that's going to be
imagine?
ugly.
We might have to have a search party for Michael Irvin.
Michael Irvin, Warren Sapp, and Ray Lewis.
Sapp.
That's
They
right.
all go to jail. Go IU, roll Tide. That's all I got to say.
All right.
Oh,
Yep.
I gotta say boiler up and War Eagle then. just to reverse that voodoo.
All right.
Eric, Ryan, Carson, and Will, who is no longer with us, thank you so much for joining the podcast, and thank you everybody for listening. Please share this podcast with a college football fan in your life and help us spread the word that the Central Indiana Sports Report is talking about what Central Indiana sports fans are talking about every day. Thanks again, guys. Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media, and I love Susie.